back. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring this episode. If you are interested in sponsoring an episode or all episodes, reach out to us. Everything you need to know is in the description.
Shout out to Anchor.
Shout out to Anchor. Guys. Without y'all, this podcast would not be possible. So we appreciate you.
We do.
I mean, could you imagine our lives without this podcast, Luke?
No, I would have no source of income. I'm just kidding. You Venmo'd me my paycheck today. It paid for my gas station my gas station stop earlier. So
yeah, we got. I mean, hey, it's a little bit of income, but it's like
hey,
it's like it's gonna pay for my Whataburger.
It's honest work. It's honest work.
Anyways,
I
don't know. Also, if you want to support the podcast, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You could sponsor us. You could use promo code PraisNews on SeatGeek.
Good.
Or you could DM us on Instagram and ask for our Venmos, and we'll give it to you. No problem there. Anyways, let's just get started straight away with Game 1 of the World Series, and we live streamed this game.
We did.
Our live reactions. Go check that out on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout out to YouTube.
Shout out to YouTube. Get us to 500 subscribers, halfway to 1 mil. So
I think I uploaded the light shot from yesterday after Framber Valdez was taken out of the game. I uploaded that to the channel. So go check that out.
Yeah. Like I say, get us to 500. I think we're at 462 right now. So we're compared to, I think we recorded last week and we were at 452. So that's 10 a week, 10 subscribers a week. Let's keep it rolling. So,
I mean, yeah, go check out that video that I posted earlier. Attendance yesterday was 43,122. If you want to see 43,000 plus flashlights out doing the tomahawk chop, go check it out. It's pretty sick.
Not to mention the like how many people were in the battery as well.
Oh yeah, shout out to the yellow battery. I mean, they had a freaking. Even on Saturday when I went, they had to shut it down after like that many people showed up. We had 100,000 people show up to the Battery Atlanta or Truist Park. They had to eventually cut it off. Like, they put up barricades, and like if you didn't have a ticket to the game, they wouldn't let you through at some point. But luckily, I got there early enough, so I was actually lucky. I got a pretty good spot, kind of close to the big screen. Went with my brother, and it beat spending over $1,000 on the ticket. I mean, probably because like $1,000 is a lot of money. I was there yesterday.
I'm sure that atmosphere, especially that game itself. But we'll get into that.
We'll talk about that. But we also got to start with Game 1. So
Game 1.
Honestly, I wish that I would just go on the live stream and just timestamp stuff in the description so you could just watch your live reactions to stuff as it happened. But I haven't done that yet because I don't have 4 hours to spend watching myself react to a game that happened like a week ago. But I mean, if someone wants to do that for us, that would be great.
Yeah.
But anyways, this was a fantastic start to the World Series. I think what was like third pitch of the game, Jorge Soler hit one of the Crawford boxes.
Third pitch of the game.
And on the second pitch, oh yes, you did call it.
Well, you won't hear it on the stream, sadly,
because
you're having audio.
It was our first stream in a long time, so I kind of forgotten that there's something else I need to do in order for our viewers to hear what Luke's saying. So I had to actually restart the stream and just start from scratch. So Luke did call it. He said he was gonna.
I said he was going to put one in the Crawford boxes. I didn't say what.
Well, you didn't say like right here, but like.
No, I didn't say that exact. I just said he's going to hit one of the Crawford boxes.
And he did that same at bat. And then I said he was going to. Actually, no, I called it on that pitch. I was just like, he's going to hit the train here, but he didn't hit the train, but he did hit a homer. So I mean, we both kind of called it.
We kind of called it. So maybe we'll do that again. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
Maybe we should call. Maybe we should call a home run tomorrow.
That would be nice. Like
or two or three of them.
and maybe hit, however many we need, I guess.
I don't know if you've had superstitions that have worked for the 3 Braves wins we've had so far. Do that again tomorrow night. We need it.
You know me, I'm the most superstitious person when it comes to the Braves, so you already know I will be.
So that wasn't it for the Braves in the first inning. This was Framber Valdez on the mound, also, by the way. So Freeman grounded out. Ozzie singled. I mean, Ozzie had 3 infield hits this game, and ever since then, he's gone like 0 for 10 with like 5 strikeouts. He's been bad recently.
He's been really.
But we'll talk more about Game 5, or not Game 5, but Game 6. We'll look at that. And honestly, I mean, I'm saying this a bit too early, probably, but I am in full support of moving Ozzie down in the lineup. Like, do what Dusty Baker did with Alex Bregman.
He's in a 3-hole right now. So.
Mm-hmm. So after that infield hit, he stole second, and then Austin Riley hit an RBI double. So 2-0 Braves early on in the first. And then I believe we scored 5 unanswered runs in the second inning. We was this Duvall's home run in the second, I believe.
Yes. No, that was in the third.
No, so it was a Jorge Soler grounded into a fielder's choice. I think it was caught in the. It was Jock Peterson got caught in a rundown between second and third. Which I think Correa, if you look at his footwork, he was actually like going to throw home. So, I mean, yeah, he was set to throw home with Travis d'Arnaud coming to the plate. But Jock Peterson got in the rundown and run scored easily. So good move by Jock Peterson there. Ensure that the run scored, even though, at the time, everyone was just like another base running error in the postseason by us.
Yeah. But hey, at least that one resulted in a run, unlike the other ones have.
For now. So in the top of the third, Braves were done scoring. Adam Duvall with a 2-run home run in the Crawford boxes. Good to see Adam Duvall get going. He didn't necessarily have the greatest postseason up to this point, but he really got going here with that home run. And but in the bottom of the fourth, the Astros answered back with a fielder's choice by Chas McCormick that scored Kyle Tucker. And I believe, what play was this? Was this a play that? It was it was the error on Dansby Swanson that scored a run.
Yeah, that was the error on Dansby. Yeah.
So Dansby's made a couple errors this series.
The defense in this series. Yeah, the defense in this series. I mean, considering we're one of the better, if not one of the best defensive teams in the baseball, the defense this series has been subpar. I mean, Eddie had a really good catch, but other than that, really hasn't been anything spectacular. Austin's been pretty good, but everybody else, really just Dansby hasn't looked like himself. So, but hey, we're in this situation. All you need is one. So, just gotta come out tomorrow. So,
yep. And then I believe Freddie Freeman with a sac fly to shallow right field. Kyle Tucker with a great throw, but great slide by Dansby Swanson to get around the tag from, I believe, was this Jason Castro behind the plate at that point? I think it was. And Jason Castro before Game 4 was placed on the COVID list, and he's out for the postseason. So, and they got Garrett Stubbs, I believe, their third string catcher, to the active roster. So, really, they don't have a good hitting catcher one bit. But Game 5. We'll talk about that. We'll get there. And then Carlos Craig with an RBI ground out in the 8th inning. No problem, no big deal. Braves win 6-2. More things for this game. Charlie Morton got the start for Atlanta, and he was doing a great job. He was doing a fantastic job. Yuli Gurriel hit a line drive off his leg, and he kind of limped it off. But I mean, at the time, no one thought it was a big deal. He was just like, I'm fine, and he continued pitching, and he did great. I mean, he struck out like 2 of the next 3 guys, and then on the pitch where he struck out Altuve, his leg kind of tweaked a bit, and the trainers went out to check on him, and we didn't know it at the time. But you found out when I was getting a drink or something.
Yeah,
you let me know when I got back. Did you get the news? And I hadn't at that point, and you was just like, Morton broke his leg. It's just like, oh, that's not good.
It was. I guess the actual diagnosis was a fractured fibula, so he's out. I guess that he'll be back in spring training, but that's kind of irrelevant at this point. So
that's irrelevant. I mean, it's weird to be talking about spring training when we're in the World Series, but Charlie Morton should be back.
Yes.
But AJ Minter came out of the pen, and he did a very good job. He ate up 2 2/3. Got the win. 2 2/3, 3 hits. Did not walk a guy. Gave up an earned run, but I really don't understand how that was an earned run because it was Dansby's error. But I mean, it's baseball. I don't really know what
happens sometimes.
I don't know why that's an earned run, but I mean, I guess you can't assume the double play there. So Luke Jackson came in, inning in 2/3, was lights out, only gave up a hit, no walks, struck out 3 of the 5 outs he got. Matzik kind of got in a little bit of a jam, and inning a third, 3 hits. Did get hit a little bit, but only the 1 run. Did get 2 strikeouts, and then Will Smith with a near perfect 9th inning, just to walk, his only blemish, and really just off to a great start for Atlanta. Just losing Charlie Morton. That's a big loss for the Braves, but big first win, but with a downside as well.
Yeah, I mean, getting off to a fast start in this World Series, especially against a team like Houston, you're on the road, you don't have home field advantage. It was a huge win and a huge confidence boost for this team, who probably didn't even need really that much confidence anyway. They're walking around with confidence thanks to Jock Peterson. So they got all the this team's got all the confidence in the world themselves. So
it takes a lot of confidence for a whole team to get behind a guy wearing pearls.
Yeah, it does.
But hey, I'm not going to quote what he said in the Players Tribune article because we're a family friendly podcast. But if you haven't checked it out, go read it. It's fantastic.
It's awesome.
And once you read it, you will know what I'm talking about if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah.
So on to game 2, we'll make this short and sweet. Max Fried, first 2 innings was not great. Struggled early. He bounced back from this 3rd inning on, but I mean, first few innings just took the life out of the Braves early. And we've had games like this before. We kind of know, but seeing Max Fried kind of struggle not only in the last game he pitched in the NLCS, but this game as well. He hasn't really looked like himself. Maybe the pressure's really got to him. But I mean, what do you think?
There was somebody said that he possibly could be tipping his pitches. I did not watch closely enough to really see anything. It's very possible. He got hit hard. There was also some unlucky stuff that happened. The shift is a thing still, and some broken bat bloops, and there were some things that you're like, what are you going to do about that? But I mean, at the end of the day, he did not have his best stuff. But that also could be a good thing because that means he's pitching game 6 tomorrow night. And that means they haven't seen the best of him, which is always a good thing. Advantage pitcher, in my opinion, after not seeing your best stuff. So, but he gave us 5. And, at that point with Charlie going down, we needed innings. And, after the first 2 innings, it didn't look like Max was going to get through 3, but he gave us 5. And, we really needed that. That 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning. I mean, I don't think he allowed a hit or a walk. I don't think he allowed a base run in those 3 innings. So those 3 innings were very Max Fried-like. But that 2nd inning really put us dead in the water from the get-go. So,
I mean, the bullpen did a good job as well. I mean, you got to give them a little bit of credit. They ate up the last 3 innings of the game. Dylan Lee, Jesse Chavez, Drew Smiley, who didn't do that well, but Kyle Wright, the guy who you would not really expect to play a factor in this World Series. And we'll talk about Game 4 in a bit, but Kyle Wright, you know, he had just been added to the roster, I believe, just before the World Series. And, I mean, comes in, I mean, attacking the strike zone, struck out the side on 12 pitches. I mean, like, that's the best I've ever seen Kyle Wright do. And it's in the World Series. Like, what?
Yeah,
like,
it not only was in the World Series, but he didn't get any. They weren't just scrub hitters. I think he got a 2. I mean, he had the bottom 2 in the order, but then he made Altuve look like a dummy. I mean, and Altuve, you know, put an asterisk next to it, but he's one of the top. He's got some of the most home runs in postseason history. So put an asterisk next to it, do what you want with it, but that is the stat. So, you know, he's not just some random guy. He's been here before. So it was really impressive.
It was very impressive to see the Braves. I mean, Kyle Wright and the rest of the Braves bullpen, Dylan Lee as well, pitching phenomenally in Game 2. And he pitched also in Game 4, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So we'll jump ahead to Friday night, which I was only able to catch the last few innings of this game, but I wasn't able to watch all of it. I had to work. And this was a pitcher's duel if I've ever seen one. The whole way through. And Ian Anderson on the mound, one of the best postseason performers in recent memory, at least. You know, not going to, you know, foreshadow Game 7 if necessary, but
let's say, I mean, we're not. What's the word? We are nervous, but everything sets up well for the Braves. The next 2 games, you got Fried, and then Anderson stepped up in every big game he's pitched, really, in the postseason the last 2 years. So, I mean, Anderson, you know, he only went 5 in this game, but the stat line really doesn't. I mean, 5 innings, he didn't give up a single hit, and he only pitched. He had 76 pitches. I don't think clearly Brian Snitker did not want to have him face the lineup a third time, especially where they were at that point in the game with it was only a 1-0 game at that point. So, you know, he wanted to go with the offensive approach with the bench guy and then leave it up to his bullpen who was lights out in this game. They were.
I mean, he has 4 best guys. I mean, with an off day on Thursday. You have your all your bullpen guys, all your best bullpen guys are ready to go. And you saw Minter, Jackson, Matzik, Will Smith, you know, which I mean, it's crazy. 3 of those 4 guys are lefties. And which is like, you know, something that the game has never seen, like this many lefties on a pitching staff. You know, especially, you know, with Minter, Matzik, and Will Smith, Max Fried as well. Say what you want about Drew Smiley. But I mean, there's a lot of great lefties that we got, and Dylan Lee as well. Can't forget about Dylan Lee. But d'Arnaud, he hit a home run in Game 2 as well in the Crawford boxes, and he had another home run here in this game in the 8th inning, adding a little insurance run. We only won this game by a score of 2-0. We had a no hit bid into the 8th inning in the World Series, which is the second longest in World Series history behind only Don Larson's perfect game in 1952, 1956, something like that.
And the first hit of this game, you know, we won the game. It was kind of a disappointing way to have it end as Eddie Rosario just, you know, I don't know if it was a blunder, what are you going to call it? Miscommunication, something. Dropped at his feet to lead off the 8th inning with Matzik pitching. It was a blue hit for Ledmys Diaz. So, you know, disappointing way to end the no-hit bid. But at the end of the day, you know, would it be nice to have the Braves' first no-hitter, you know, in a long time? Yes, but at the end of the day, you're in the World Series, and the win is all that matters at that point. So, And that's what we did. Is Will Smith closed it out and continues to be locked down as he's been all postseason. So,
I mean, that hit by Lemus, yes, that dropped in front of Eddie Rosario, 85% catch probability I saw. So definitely a little cheap hit. And then Will Smith also gave up a hit, but it was against the shift. And if we didn't shift, that would have been a hit either. So, a little bit of, better defense in left field from Rosario. If we had put like Jock Peterson out there, that would have been a catch. And if we didn't shift in the ninth inning, that could have been a no hitter, but hindsight is 2020. We'll take a win for sure.
Yes.
And Minter and Jackson with 2 perfect innings of their own. Actually, no, Minter did give up a hit by pitch to Bregman, but that was basically it. Ian Anderson, 5 innings, no hits, no runs, 3 walks, 1 hit by pitch, and 4 strikeouts. And then Snicker elected to go with a pinch hitter, and it was right. It proved to be the right decision with the rest of the bullpen. So,
yep. That by this point, you had to give a lot of praise to how Brian Snicker had managed these first. I mean, obviously, definitely the first and third game, but I mean, even in the second game, you could have very well pulled Max Fried. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we didn't wind up winning the game, but at the same time, that gave your bullpen a little bit more rest, and then you didn't have your best guys go in that game. And then, as you see, that well-rested Braves bullpen is very, very good. So
it gives you more hope going into game 6. So
it does.
So, I mean, and you got to figure that the Astros bullpen is just as, exhausted and tired as the Braves bullpen is right now. But, this off day is beneficial for both teams. So we'll see how the Braves come out tomorrow, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. We keep, getting ahead of ourselves. Jumping ahead to Saturday. I was at the Battery and I got there at like 4:00-ish. And that place was rocking early on. We had some like 80s like cover band in the Battery, just performing a bunch of Prince songs and Queen songs and Bruce Springsteen songs. I mean, it was they weren't bad. I mean, it was, no one was really paying attention, but I don't know, it was rocking early on. I'm still amazed at the fact that there were that many people there. I mean, obviously Braves fans are going to show up no matter what, but I mean, they had to barricade off the Battery, and they wouldn't let anyone in unless they either had I think they had a concert going on at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater as well. Which,
really?
I think so.
What kind of scheduling is that?
I mean, obviously this was probably like scheduled way ahead of time, but
yeah, I'm sure the concert, they could have moved it like 2 days later. I guess, and maybe
it was Lucas Nelson that night. I think that's Willie Nelson's kid or son. He's not really a kid, but I don't know. So they had that going on. They had a World Series game going on, and they had about 100,000 people show up to the Battery. So
yeah, it was,
and Donald Trump was there. So you could imagine security and all that going on.
Security was, they were. I mean, I was walking in the Battery yesterday, and holy cow, they were. I mean, we were talking about, I wonder what the security's like at the stadium in the Battery, and you walk by and there's guys with like, heavy, like it was serious, like,
oh yeah,
gear and everything, the whole shebang. So it was, they were ready, to say the least. So
so this game, Braves were going with the bullpen game. I think everyone saw that coming.
Yep.
But the decision here to start Dylan Lee, who has made 3 appearances in the majors, 3 or 4 appearances.
If that.
Appearances in the major leagues, 2 in the regular season, I think 2 in the postseason. Against a guy like Zach Greinke, who's pitched like what, 16 years? I mean,
a lot of years, a lot of innings, a lot of experience.
His experience too. I mean, in the World Series against a guy who's thrown 4 games, like that is a matchup that does not favor the Braves.
Not at all.
And Dylan Lee in the top of the first inning, we saw the nerves. I mean, only threw a third of an inning, 1 hit, 2 walks, only 1 earned run. And then the Braves went to Kyle Wright. And I mean, if you had told me before this series that Kyle Wright was going to be a big part of the Braves in the World Series, I thought you would have been crazy. I mean, I think
I would have been like, huh? What are you talking about?
But I'm not saying that Kyle Wright was dominant. He gave up his fair share of base runners. 3 walks, 2 of those were intentional.
I don't really think the stat line shows how much of an impact he had on this game. I think. I mean, you can look at the stat line, say, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run. 3 walks. He had a good outing, but the stat line, like I said, the stat line doesn't show how big of an impact he had on this game. Keep us in this game when it looked from the start like it could have been really bad. So,
and the stat that jumps out to me, not only just the 1 run allowed, but the 4 2/3, that is a lot of innings to eat up out of the bullpen. And in a high pressure spot like the World Series, when you have a chance to go up 3 games to 1 in the World Series, and you have Kyle Wright coming into that game, you're just like, is Snicker giving up already? But obviously, looking back now, it's just like that might have been genius. I mean, obviously, we needed someone to eat up innings, and Kyle Wright is capable of doing that.
Yep.
But he was absolutely fantastic, and the box score doesn't do him that much justice. But to only give up 1 run in 4 2/3 out of the bullpen, like
against the lineup,
fantastic. Against the Astros lineup,
nonetheless. So that's the most impressive. I would say, you consider the bullpen that, he came out of the bullpen, probably one of the more impressive bullpen outings this postseason. Obviously, you got some other guys that have had better, in more high pressure situations, but I think at that exact moment, that was a big thing that the Braves needed to swing momentum, and that's exactly what they did. So.
And the rest of the bullpen, we'll talk about the offense in just a bit. Martin, Matzik, Jackson, and Will Smith. 4 innings total. No walks by any of them. Only 2 hits allowed, 1 by Martin, 1 by Matzik. Only 3 strikeouts combined, but when, that's still just so impressive. 4 innings after that, only giving up the 2 hits and no walks, no runs. Like, you can't ask for much more than that. You can't ask for any more than that. No. It's kind of the same story from, game 3, after we pull Ian Anderson in a 1-0 game, who's throwing a no-hitter, I saw that Bowman tweeted out when Dylan Lee was removed that Snicker was removing a guy throwing a 1-hitter, but which is kind of funny to me. But the bullpen was it was fantastic. They just did their job. Everyone was did their part, and offense for the most part was pretty silent up until the 6th inning. So
shout out to Zach Greinke. He was. I didn't get to watch the first really 6 innings of this game, but Greinke went 4. He only threw 58 pitches. I did see some controversy that, should he have stayed in? I don't know, possibly, but he didn't, and he did what the Astros needed him to do. He went 4 hits, no runs, 3 Ks, no walks. So. He put the Astros in a position to win, and
and he got done with the bat too. Zach Greinke might be the best hitting pitcher of our generation. I mean, you can make an argument for Madison Bumgarner or Adam Wainwright.
Ohtani?
He's an exception.
But, he doesn't count as a pitcher. Well, he does, but not like that.
Not like
But Max Fried.
But also yesterday, we'll talk about what happened yesterday in a bit. But Greinke only went 4 innings. He was removed with only 58 pitches. Went to Ryan Stanek out of the bullpen, and he pitched a perfect 5th inning. And then brought in Brooks Raley for the 6th inning. Kind of struggled a bit, gave up a hit and a walk. And then they went to Phil Maton, who also gave up a hit and a walk.
We cannot figure this guy out. Phil Maton is just he's bullied us all series long.
Except in this game, of course, where he came in the game, runners on first and second, 1 out. And I think, was this Austin Riley with an RBI single, I believe, off of Phil Maton. So, and then he also walked a guy. So I don't remember who exactly the walk was to, but we were able to figure him out for 2 batters. So somebody also struck out 2 batters. So
the one guy I will say that has figured out Phil Maton is Austin Riley. I think he's 2 for 2 in this series against him with that, obviously that hit, and then in game 5. So he's one of the few guys I've seen that has really, for a guy that, we were at the game yesterday, as we said, and it looked like Maton was throwing 90. You would think Maton was throwing like 98 the way he was missing bats. So, he's got some good stuff, but obviously he did give up the this was not his earned run, but he did give up the go ahead or the single that put the Braves on the board.
Yeah.
It made a 1-run game.
It was 2-1 at that point. Carlos Correa with an RBI ground out in the first inning. If he had hit it a little harder, it would have been an inning-ending double play. But that was the 1 earned run from Dylan Lee. And then Jose Altuve had an absolute missile to center field. This was basically identical to Darno's home run. From
this was a missile. Before. That was a rocket.
For a 5'6" guy, he's pretty good.
Yeah, give him that.
And then, so yes, Austin Riley with the RBI. It was a single. He advances second, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be a single or double, but it is a single to the box score. And then in the 7th inning, this is down 2-1. We don't want the Astros to come back and tie the series. At this time, we wanted, to shift the momentum a little bit. At this point, we don't want to go back to Houston. We want to win this game and not, have a chance to clinch in front of the home fans tomorrow.
Yep.
Braves offense came alive finally in the bottom of the 7th inning. Against Christian Javier, which, obviously I don't know exactly what goes into this decision to bring in Christian Javier, who could really be a starter. He started a few games and he was pretty good too. The rotation for the Astros this year, but bringing him into the bottom of the 7th inning with a 1-run lead, Dusty Baker obviously felt like that was the right move, but and it was not the right move.
It was not the right move.
So let's see exactly what happened. I don't have all the plays right now. So first batter faced was Adam Duvall, and he struck him out. But then Dansby Swanson comes up, throws 3 straight sliders. I think he gets 2 swings and misses on the first one, and then he spit on the third one, light off of it, blowing away. And then you got to figure he's coming fastball. Throws a fastball right out over the middle of the plate. Dansby drives it into the monkey grass over there in right field in front of the chop house.
Yeah, and Dansby's always a guy that he's every postseason so far he's played, and seems like he has that one clutch hit. He really hasn't had that one clutch hit this postseason, it seems like, and he finally got that clutch hit that was Dansby Swanson going the opposite way. That's when Dansby Swanson is going good, is when he's hitting opposite field and getting it up. I mean, he was that was a huge, obviously tied the game. So it was a huge swing of momentum that tied the game. So
and Battery was going nuts. And the Battery was still rocking. And then Jorge Solero came in to pinch hit. And I believe this was also a similar sequence as well, if I remember correctly. Starting them off backwards. I don't remember if this was, what was the count when he hit this home run? I don't even remember off the top of my head.
I couldn't remember. I can tell you.
I can find it real quick. It was 2-1, and I believe he was attacking him with off-speed pitches. I think the Astros were working Braves hitters backwards. They were throwing off-speed early and then speeding us up later in that bats. And Dansby, obviously, 3-straight sliders, expected a fastball, hit it out. And I think after that, obviously my Astros kind of want to flip that, and maybe throw fastballs early, off-speed stuff later. I don't remember what happened, but I think the first couple pitches were all fastballs, and then on a 2-1 count, sitting off speed, lines it into the Astros bullpen over in left field, just above Yordan Alvarez, who was a little shaken up on the play, but he was okay. But this home run, just that place went nuts.
They lost their minds. I mean, I was losing my mind. It was, I was sitting on a couch with my buddies in Auburn, Alabama, and we lost it, to say the least. It was really fun.
At the Battery,
I can only imagine what the Battery was looking.
So my brother, I went with my brother to the Battery, and he was out. I think he was going to the bathroom or something, and then he was getting a drink. So he was getting this drink when Dansby hit the home run, and they have a Fox broadcast on their TV, so it's on a delay, of course. So he hears the roar of the crowd from way down the street. He's just like, "What happened?" And then everyone looks up at the TV and sees Dansby hit the home run. He was on his way back over when Soler hit this. So my brother, I wasn't with my brother when this happened.
Maybe you should tell your brother to stay over there. Maybe you should go to the game or go to the watch party tomorrow and just walk around and get food and stuff. Maybe we'll win.
My personal waiter. But so basically there were 3 guys, I think probably maybe a couple years younger than us, just hanging out in the Battery, just having a good time, cussing up the storm. And literally they just were just jumping like bro hugging each other, just jumping up and down, and they wanted me to get involved. So I was just like, let's do it. We made a lot of friends this weekend.
That's one of the best things about these types of games is, like I said earlier, the game yesterday, I sat with a bunch of people, you don't know them, you've never met them before, but in those moments, they're your best friends. And I can't tell you how on that Duval and I high-fived probably 17 people. Everybody.
I kind of joked around yesterday. I was just by the end of the night, everyone's going to know each other's social security numbers. It's going to be we're all tight.
That's the best part of, postseason baseball is everybody's into it. Everybody wants to be there. And, those are your best friends. So we're all there for the same reasons. So
unless you're an Astros fan, which there are a few, but
there were, I think
you're not invited.
Maybe 6.
Who invited you? But anyways, we talked about the bullpen already. So this takes us to game 5, and we were both there. We witnessed all of it.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
where do you even start with this game?
I mean, if this was anybody other than our team, I feel like this would be such a fun. I mean, this was a fun game to watch. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we didn't wind up. Me and my dad were texting. We're like, man, what a game to go to. But obviously, we didn't end up on the right side of it. But that's what you think of when you think of postseason, especially World Series baseball. Is it's back and forth all game long, and the place was rocking from the beginning of the first pitch, and then the Duvall grand slam happens. So we're gonna talk about
that when Duvall hit that opposite field grand slam of the chop house, everyone was already standing up. Everyone was standing up for the entire first inning anyways.
Yeah.
But when he hit that, like, I was just like, I had a good view of it. I was like up in the upper deck. I was parallel to the pitcher's mound actually. And I saw the ball flight. I was just like, if this leaves the park, oh my God.
I was lower. I was lower and I was on the right field line near that chop house. I was like, I had a great view, and off the bat, I'm like, that might go to the warning track, and then the ball just kept carrying, and I was like,
yeah,
that was, I mean,
the wind was blowing out too, so that definitely played a factor too. Because I had a great view of the balls down the line, down the left field line, and you saw balls like start tailing off to the left, and you saw them just kind of like slowly drift back towards the line. And there were a few plays like that Rosario sliding catch. I think there was a couple that Jordan caught like that. And then Bregman's caught a pop-up as well, and close to the dugout. That was the same thing. Wind played a factor yesterday, and Duvall pimped that thing like it was like out to the battery, but it was to the front row. It definitely played a factor there. That ball just kept going and going and going, and that was the loudest place I've ever heard in my life. I
texted my mom. I was like, that was the loudest I've ever heard a sporting event ever. Like in any sport, not just baseball. That was the loudest in-person sporting event I've ever been to. It was nuts.
And I think everyone's thought at that point was just like, maybe tonight's going to be the night.
Maybe
like this tonight may very well be the night. And then wheels kind of fell off the bus there. Pretty fast. Tucker Davidson with a start for Atlanta, which he hasn't pitched in a game since June,
early June, something like that.
It was not the best decision by Snitker there. I know you don't have that many other options, but maybe have Minter as the opener. We saw what he did last year as an opener.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a hard thing to say, what could have been, but obviously if there's, you got put in a tough situation because that would have been Charlie Morton's game. And I think if Charlie Morton starts right now, we're sitting here as World Series champions. Maybe that's just, obviously a lot would have to go into that, but I truly believe if Charlie Morton does get hurt, I think we are sitting here as World Series champions right now. But obviously that was not the case, and I love Tucker to death. I want to get him on the podcast.
I love Tucker.
I love Tucker. Tucker, come on. I know you're not listening to this.
Did you see his post-game interview after the game?
I did not.
Man, the guy was like a kid in a candy store. He's just like, I just started in a World Series game. This is what I've dreamed of my entire life.
Yeah, I love the guy. I want to get him on here. I've DM'd him. So if you have any contact with Tucker Davidson whatsoever, tell him to DM me or DM the pod or something. DM David something, because I want to get him on here. I love that kid, and he clearly first ever. Not even your first ever. Your first ever world, or you're starting in the World Series Game 5 and a potential clincher. You're also starting. You're pitching in your first career postseason game. And, obviously he got that huge double play in the first inning, and then I mean, you could tell the jitters kind of got to him. He didn't have his sharpest stuff from that second inning and third inning, and it proved to be costly as the Astros did wind up tying the game there. So,
Tucker did not have his best stuff. 2 innings, 2 hits, 4 total runs. I mean, Dansby had a very costly error early on as well. Only 2 of those 4 runs were earned, but Tucker also walked 3. Walks were a big issue early on. Jesse Chavez came on to work the third and a little bit in the fourth, and he didn't look sharp either. He got hit around. He didn't have.
He didn't give up many runs, but he did not. The stat line I don't think shows that he really did not have his best stuff.
He was falling behind in counts too. Let's see.
It's very un-Jesse Chavez like. Chavez like.
Is this an Ion Anderson situation?
Ion. Oh, shout out to Chris Rose Rotation and John Boy Media. They both
just John Boy in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah, John Boy. John Boy, you wanna make us affiliated with your with
I think it was you. It was Rose Rotation and then Talking Baseball, right? Who liked you?
Yeah. It was Talking Baseball. They like my tweet. I think. Well, I think Talking Braves or not Talking Braves, Talking Baseball liked my tweet twice. One of them was about the Ion Anderson situation or the Ion Anderson talking about Ion, and then and the other one was just them about streaming the game. I just said something like this should be an album cover, and both of them liked it. It was so shout out to them. Get us affiliated with you guys.
That's the dream, baby.
That's the dream. That's what we're working towards.
But so
moving on into this game.
So Chavez didn't have his good stuff. Davidson, I mean, I wasn't really expecting him to have the good stuff.
Let's just say nobody really for the Braves pitching staff had their good stuff. Outside of, Chris Martin looked good, but nobody else really had good stuff in this game. That 6 walks isn't going to win you a lot of games, especially against this Astros lineup.
So, at this point, it's a third inning, and I think bottom of the third inning, Freddie Freeman, absolutely launches one. So in right center field, over near the flags in the State Farm neighborhood and all that stuff, there are 3 tunnels where you can just kind of like get to your seat if you're above the Braves bullpen. In the middle of that, the middle tunnel, like right in the middle, that was like 3/4 of the way to the top of that tunnel.
Yeah, that was the furthest I've seen a ball hit in that area
yes.
Yeah, in that area of Truist Park, that was the furthest I've seen a
and that was
hit.
Tied for the longest home run in the postseason for a Brave since they started tracking that. And the other one was also hit by Freddie Freeman in Game 1 of the 2019 NLDS against the Cardinals in the 9th inning, and we were both there for that as well.
Was that Game 1?
That was Game 1, yeah. It did that center.
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
And then Acuna also hit that bomb too, and Albies almost did. And we almost went back to back.
I remember
and he just took the foul too. I still remember just like if that had stayed fair, it would have been a tie game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But let's not talk about that series.
Let's not talk about that series.
And then AJ. So Braves at this point have 5-4 lead. And then AJ Minter's on the mound, and normally AJ Minter, he finally cracked.
When this goes for any pitcher, but when AJ does not throw strikes, he's not even near the zone. Like when
I honestly did not like this one bit. Jesse Chavez, you got Maldonado, pitcher spot, Zach Greinke pinch hit, and he got a single. I think I was in the bathroom for this because I don't even remember seeing Zach Greinke hit. I didn't even know he got a hit. Is that bad? I didn't even know Zach Greinke pinch hit.
I think it's safe to say this was one of the the poorest game Snit's managed all postseason.
Oh,
I mean,
one of the worst he's managed all season, really.
Yeah, it was just a very poor. I mean, not only I don't think bringing in Mitchell in that situation was the wrong move because he did get the out of Brantley the inning prior, but then the fact that he didn't pull him at that situation because you got to think. I mean, you have a chance to clinch in front of your home crowd. I mean, I really thought they would pull him in that situation. You got bases loaded.
So this is actually what I'm getting to.
Yeah. Sorry.
So after the Zach Greinke single with the 1 out in the 4th, Jesse Chavez gets Altuve to fly out, and we pull AJ Minter, or we pull Jesse Chavez and replace him with AJ Minter, even though the pitcher spot is due up second in the next inning.
Yeah.
That's just plain stupid. We only have a runner on first with 2 outs. I know you don't like the righty-lefty matchup against Brantley. I get it. But when you have the pitcher's spot due up second the next inning, and you want Minter to go more than 1 inning, I mean, obviously, no one at that stadium wants to see AJ Minter hit or try to bunt or whatever he's doing. That's just
they did try to bunt, and it was very
sure. He got AJ Minter came in and got Brantley to strike out. Good for him, but he's still due up a second. I mean, at least have a double switch, ready. Yeah. And AJ, I mean, Darno with a single. Actually, no, the pitcher spot was due up third. My bad. And then Dansby flew out, and then AJ Minter tried a bunt, popped out to Maldonado, and then just a wasted at bat there. If you had just left Jesse Chavez in, probably, you could have AJ Minter start the next thing fresh and go with a pinch hitter like Ray Adrianza there. It's just a stupid move by Snicker there, not even the double switch. And then AJ Minter in the top of the 5th inning, this is where the wheels really fell off the bus. Lead off single. He struck out Jordan. Then a single by Gurriel. And then got him to ground out. Got Kyle Tucker to ground out. And then we intentionally walk Alex Bregman to get to Martin Maldonado. And Maldonado had zero intentions of swinging the bat, even though the bases were loaded with 2 outs. You could tell Maldonado did not want to swing.
When you look at it, I mean, I did agree. I was telling the next thing, I was like, walk Bregman, you have Maldonado. But at the end of the day, that was the right matchup. But if you don't even throw it anywhere near the zone, no major league batter is going to even attempt to swing at that. I mean, he threw 4 pitches that weren't anywhere close.
It was not even on a 3-1 count, he showed bunt. He had zero intentions of swinging the bat.
Oh, yeah.
And Minter completely lost the strike zone there.
Yeah.
And then if a pitcher can't find the strike zone against the lightest hitting catcher in baseball, what's the smart thing to do? You get him out.
Yep.
And we leave him in.
Like I said, especially in that
face
situation.
Marwin Gonzalez, who had 2 at-bats in the entire postseason leading up to this, with a 2-run bloop single left. I mean, sure, if you had brought someone else in and, they were to give up a 2-run single, that would be that. But AJ did not have good stuff. Walking Martin Maldonado with the bases loaded and leaving him in, there's no excuse for that, in my opinion. I remember texting you. I was just like, what's Snicker trying to do here? I know AJ Minter is kind of that guy that you turn to, hoping to get out of jams. And he has done a good job of that in the past. But last night, after walking Maldonado, he worked himself in the jam. And when he works himself in the jams, that's not the spot where he shines in. And then after that 2-run single, that was the end of Minter's night. 1 batter too late.
Yeah.
At the time, leaving Minter in, I saw Kranitz go out. I was just like, why is Snicker not getting him out? He just walked Martin Maldonado.
It was very poor. It was
that blows my mind there. And then
it was probably the worst game Snit's managed all year. And
so that gave the Astros a 7-5 lead. brought in Chris Martin, who did fantastic. Inning and third, perfect innings. Only got one strikeout, but Chris Martin, this postseason has been 2020 Chris Martin.
Oh yeah.
Like he has turned it around this postseason. And he honestly, like, if we can just get 4 innings out of Max Fried tomorrow, we can go with Martin, Minter, Matzik, Jackson, Smith, eating up those last 5 innings. You're set. Like you could be set if you have an early lead. So that's a key for tomorrow. You got to get an early lead. Martin, you're not really talking about. No one's really talking about him as being a big guy in that bullpen. Sorry, arm barn. That's a different story. That's a whole different story. That might be a whole episode.
That might be a off-season topic.
Yeah. If we have nothing else to talk about in the off-season, that might be like a 10-minute episode. But Martin that did phenomenal. So 7-5, and going into the 7th inning, and in the bottom of the 6th inning, I personally didn't see this in the bullpen, but you were just your dad. I think it looks over the bullpen, and I mean you can say what happened.
Yeah, my dad looked over the bullpen and goes, "Is that Smiley warming up?" But I looked over. I was like, probably not. I mean, I thought it might have been like Matzik or something warming up.
Better be Matzik, right?
But no. I was like, maybe there's somebody next to him. No, it was Drew Smiley warming up in I guess it was a 2-run game at that point still. And
I mean, it was a 2-run game, and you're bringing in Drew Smiley. When you have Matzik and Jackson, I get that they pitched a lot, but you have an off day the next day. You don't need back-to-back off. I mean, you don't need back-to-back off days. You don't need 2 straight off days when these guys are ready to pitch.
I mean, honestly, you could even pitch Dylan Lee, and I would have been more confident. I mean, because
Drew Smiley gets hit hard. Okay, he doesn't really walk that many guys. He didn't walk anyone yesterday, but he gets hit hard. And against the Astros offense with that many righties in that lineup, that's a terrible matchup. Like,
it was.
I'm okay if we were to use Smiley as like an opener in a game, but that was in my opinion, that was just Snit throwing the towel at that point. I mean, it was a 2-run game, and he had already given up. That was what made me the most frustrated was that it was a 2-run game, and you're bringing in Smiley, and I mean, you're bringing in Smiley. You're like, you're hoping he has a good outing. You're not you when you bring in Luke Jackson or Tyler Matzik, you are preparing to win and knowing and believing that your offense is going to put up more runs. When you bring in Drew Smiley, like, maybe he'll have a good outing and we'll be in this game still. But and obviously he didn't have a good outing because he gave up 2 runs in 3 innings. He gave up a run in the 7th inning, in the bottom of the top of the 7th inning. My bad. And then it's only a 3-run game. With our offense, we're capable of scoring 3-4 runs, and coming back and winning and clinching the World Series at home. Mm-hmm. So in the 8th inning, you still have Matzik and you still have Jackson, and we're not using Will Smith in the 8th inning. But you still have Matzik and Jackson, ready to go, and not a single time did I see anyone else warming up in the bullpen with Smiley on the mound. And Smiley goes back out there for the 8th inning, and it became clear to everyone in that stadium that we'd given up. And
we had thrown in the towel at that point. I mean, it was just
literally the stadium. It got excited when I think was it Austin Riley with a double down the line. That got the crowd going a little bit, and then Drew Smiley went back out there, and everyone just quieted down again, and you could just tell by the atmosphere, it was just a stupid move. And he gives up another one in the 8th inning.
It was a drainer, because at that point you're like, at that point, once you came out for the 8th, you might as well just let him finish it out, because at that point,
you already screwed it up. There's no other way.
You're already dead in the water at that point. It was already 9-5. You might as well, I thought it was it was a very lousy move to, that's just basically not having confidence in your guys.
Especially, this is nothing against Drew Smiley. He got hit hard in the regular season. He struggled with a home run ball, but he did have a good stretch of games for like a month and a half, 2 months, or like in the middle of the season. He had a very good run. He had a very respectable run there. But this is not the guy you want to have in a close game late in the late innings. Like this was, you cannot defend Snicker here. I I don't even know how Snicker, we had Braves fans rolling in their graves last night.
Yeah. I love Brian. He's got us to this point. He's been a big part of the reason why we're at this point, even though he's made some questionable decisions all year, but that was just a time where you're like, that's just,
the game is still within reach. You have a great offense that's capable of coming back. You've seen these bullpen guys over and over, for the Astros at least. And then you bring in Drew Smiley, and then, this is your chance to clinch in front of your home crowd. This is your final home game. These fans spent thousands and thousands of dollars on tickets. To watch Drew Smiley eat up innings, like that's just like a big old FU. I hate saying that, but that was like, that's basically what he was saying to the crowd there. That's how it felt. I wasn't the one.
Yeah, if just like if it was a 5-run game or a 6-run game, or even more, maybe I would have been like, yeah, I agree. We probably aren't coming back. Bring in Smiley, but it was still like, a 2-run game. It's a bloop and a blast away from a tie, and it was just.
And what really is frustrating is, I think if I wasn't there, I don't think I'd be as mad as I am right now. But this game was within reach, and you have Luke Jackson and Tyler Matzik in the bullpen with an off day the following day today. They'll be rested for game 6 and 7. You don't have to worry about them. Like, they will take care of business. If we had brought in Luke Jackson and he struggled, okay, it would have been like, yeah, okay. But, we didn't give up. We were still putting out one of our best guys out there, and we were trying to give them a good run for their money, at least we're, trying. But Drew Smiley was just a sign that Snicker just didn't care, and, Snicker let down every single person in Braves country yesterday by bringing in Drew Smiley. No offense to Drew Smiley, but he is 100% not that guy, and he has never been that guy.
Yep.
You're not that guy, pal. Sorry, Drew.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
So very questionable decisions from Snicker there in game 5. So, going into that game, we got some last minute tickets, and to even be there last night was like crazy, just in general.
Yeah, that was a full circle moment, especially with both of us there. I thought that was, we were texting each other. We're like, I had already been planning to go to the game. I drove up that morning, and was planning to go to the game, and you didn't get, I don't know what, I guess you got your tickets like late that afternoon, or sometime around there,
like 4:00.
And that was, I was like, let's go. And when we obviously met up, if you saw our story, and it was, that was a full circle moment. Like, we're here, we're like, we've said it on the podcast, somebody get us to the World Series. Cause that doesn't not happen. First off, you don't get to go to a World Series often at all, if any. And 2, with your team in it, in a potential clincher at home. So, that was despite the outcome, it was a lot of fun, meeting new people around me, the energy in the building for at least the first few innings was unmatched.
It was phenomenal.
I mean, Braves country showed out in full force all weekend. So
yeah, you got it. Shout out to Braves country. I mean, we had the whole world watching the last 3 nights, and the fans were incredible. The battery was alive and so loud.
I mean, I'm biased, but best fans of baseball, in my opinion. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean,
I think at least the most loyal and most dedicated fan base to their team.
Like literally, like I was in line at a concession stand yesterday, and there was an Astros fan like in front of me, and I didn't realize that at first, but until later, that he like turned completely around, that he had an Astros shirt on. I didn't realize it at the time, but like he was just like, "This is the greatest atmosphere I've ever like experienced. Like, this is great." And I was just like, "Oh, you're an Astros fan saying that?" Like, I mean, that's saying something. Like,
that speaks volumes to the way Braves fans come out and support this team, and how much this city needs this and deserves this, especially with this team. So
when I got home Saturday afternoon, I got home probably around 3 p.m. Eastern, and we got tickets like 4 p.m. I should know that. I guess that was 24 hours later. Never mind. I'm getting my days mixed up now. You can tell I'm tired, but like literally, like I get off at the exit that where my house is, and I'm just driving down the road, and there's like vendors on the side of the road.
I know exactly what place you're talking about.
Like, people are like, selling Braves merch everywhere. You're seeing like these signs, like roadwork signs on the side of the road that, instead of just like, saying like nightly lane closures or something, you're saying go Braves, chop on and stuff like that. Just it's like the whole city, just like the skyscrapers were lit up red and blue. We had the 3 buildings, across the interstate from Truist Park, spelling out ATL with the lights in those rooms, just spelling out ATL. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen the city get behind the team so much. And then we bring in Juice finally.
I said, I want to be at that parade. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I want to be at that parade, though.
I'm going to do everything in my power to go to that parade. But we got to, get.
Yeah,
we got to win one game first.
You need one.
So, looking ahead to Game 6, this is our final little bit. We got Max Fried on the mound against likely Luis Garcia, who's going to be on short rest. Yeah. This has a lot of similarities between what happened in the National League Championship Series against the Dodgers.
I mean, this is basically, I think this is pretty much identical outside of us losing Game 2 versus winning Game 2. I mean, this has basically been the same series. You're in the same situation.
Yeah.
You don't have Charlie Morton, obviously, but you are putting yourself in a situation where, they have Luis Garcia on short rest, and who knows if this game, God forbid this game goes 7 games, but who pitches tomorrow for the Astros? You have, a fully rested Max Fried, who did not have his best stuff last start and could have his best stuff. They have not seen the best of Max Fried. And then, I mean, a big game pitcher, as he's proven to be so far, in Ian Anderson going game 7. I mean, that has been announced, but I mean, it's pretty much a given that he would go tomorrow, or Wednesday, if there does happen to be Game 7. So everything sets up for you, but Atlanta sports cannot Atlanta sports, and you need to just win one. So make it happen.
Just need one. And we needed one yesterday, and obviously we weren't able to pull it off. But Matt, Braves fans should have a lot of confidence here, and there are a lot of reasons why. You got Max, you got your 2 big boys. I mean, obviously you would have 3 with Morton, but we have your two main ones that you have healthy right now, and Fried and Anderson. And Fried's hasn't looked like himself last two starts, and Astros have seen bad Max Fried. Now Max Fried has a chance to turn it around, and he's got it. Obviously, I remember what John Smoltz said when Fried struggled in game 2, that Fried loves attacking inside. That's kind of his that's his strong side. That's how he attacks hitters. That's
I was listening to
what he does best. And Astros feed off of that. So he was attacking more away, and the Astros were ready for it.
Yeah.
Now maybe Max Fried will, maybe mix it up and work inside and outside, work both sides of the plate, work the corners, which we know Max Fried is capable of doing that. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen Max Fried at its best.
I was listening to 755 is Real with David O'Brien and Eric O'Flaherty on the way back to school earlier. And
so do you
Eric O'Flaherty was talking about how
too? Do you listen to podcasts?
I do. I listen to a lot of
podcasts. Let's go.
I listen. That's how I kill all my time. That's how I kill all my times. I listen to music, a little bit of music, but mostly podcasts.
Music, yeah.
But Eric O'Flaherty was talking about how Max Fried was pitching to his strengths would also happen to be the Astros' strengths. So I think the difference tomorrow is going to be Max Fried pitching to the Astros' weaknesses compared to, obviously, like you said, Max Fried loves to throw inside against a team, and a guy in Altuve who hits the inside pitch better than nearly anybody in baseball. So it's going to be about making those adjustments and, having those, pitching to their weaknesses. And if it pays off tomorrow, you'll see a very happy bunch of two co-hosts here, hopefully within the next few days. So
hopefully, I think, obviously we would love to clinch at home, but I was actually listening to 680 The Fan. They have podcasts as well with like guys like Buck Blue, Matt Chernoff, those guys. And I listened to a few episodes, and Buck Blue had Mark DeRosa on the show as well, and I'll talk more about that a little later on. But I love D-Ro. Who doesn't like D-Ro?
Who doesn't like D-Ro?
D-Ro, come on the pod.
Come on the pod, D-Ro.
That would be like a dream episode.
That would be That would be such a fun episode.
D-Ro's like the definition of like the perfect baseball personality guy.
Yeah, he's the guy, and he's so down to earth,
so likable.
He's such a he knows baseball. He knows.
Hey, when I met him at Truist Park, I should have asked him to come on the pod, but he lives in Atlanta somewhere. I wish I'd brought it up, but got a picture with him though. But that was an experience. First of all, I met him and McCann. I met McCann for the second time actually. I'll talk more about what D-Ro said in a bit, but also heard I really don't remember exactly who it was, but an interview with Tom Glavine as well, who pitched game 6 of the 1995 World Series up 3-2 after losing game 5. A left-handed pitcher against a very good lineup. What were his emotions like and all that. And it was a great episode, and I highly recommend you go check that out. 680 The Fan does a great job. And their analysis is very good as well. But I listened to like 5 episodes of 5 podcast episodes on my way back to school today, so I was kind of prepared. But what I found out, which is just crazy, is that there hasn't been a World Series winner to clinch the World Series at their home ballpark since 2013.
Really?
2020, everything was a neutral site. 2019,
the
Nationals beat the Astros in Houston. 2018, the Red Sox beat the Who did they face?
Dodgers.
It was the Dodgers. They won in LA. 2017, the Astros. Say what you want. Beat the Dodgers in LA. 2016, Cubs beat the Guardians in Cleveland. Or we don't even know if they're going to be the Guardians.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Who knows what they're going to be?
Off-season episode. 2015, the Royals beat the Mets in New York. 2014, the Giants beat the Royals in Kansas City.
I didn't even realize that.
In 2013, the Red Sox won it in Boston. So, I mean,
let's
give you a little bit of hope.
Streak alive.
Let's
keep that streak alive.
It's been 8 years since a team has won the World Series at home. So, I mean, would it have been nice?
There's something to be said about the Astros playing World Series games against NL East teams at their home ballpark in recent memory. 2 years ago.
Kendrick.
So, shout out Howie.
Shout out to Howie Kendrick.
And
really underrated career.
Of course.
Really underrated career.
Yeah.
Howie Kendrick was just a great all-around hitter.
Howie Kendrick.
But honestly, Max Fried, I mean, I really think he's going to bounce back tomorrow. Because
I don't want to get
I just can't see a world where Max Fried doesn't have good stuff for 3 starts in a row. I just can't see it.
All I'm going to say is I'm going to speak into existence. Max Fried shoves tomorrow.
I mean,
offense needs to get going, and Max Fried's going to shove. And let's no funny 7. Let's get it done. Let's just get it done. Game 7. I mean, I have all the confidence in the world in Ian Anderson, but getting to Game 7 is just like if at all possible. That's a whole different animal. Game 7. That's a whole different animal.
Tomorrow, there's really 2 X factors for me. 1, obviously Max Fried has to shove, and 2, Ozzy Albies, no matter where he is in that lineup, he's got to provide some sort of he's got to do something.
I said at the beginning of the series, before they even started, I said somebody at the bottom of the lineup is going to have to produce. That guy's happened to be Travis d'Arnaud this series. And even Dansby Swanson had that big hit, but he hasn't been consistent all series.
With a grand slam too.
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of middle of the order.
But I said one person at the bottom of the order is going to have to step. Duvall has done that, but Ozzy has gone ice cold. So we need that. We need that to turn around. And
I don't know if Snicker's really going to do this. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But Tom Glavine discussed this as well. That Ozzy, it would be the right thing to do for Ozzy to be moved down the lineup because he's sitting in the middle of the order and he's just not getting it done.
I think my ideal lineup.
Move Austin Riley up in the lineup. He's been on fire. Duvall's been great. d'Arnaud's been great.
I would say
Jock and
my ideal lineup right now. My ideal lineup right now would be Eddie at a leadoff spot tomorrow
against Garcia.
I honestly would say Soler at the 2-hole. Yeah, and then Freddie, just move Freddie down to the 3-hole, and then I'd say move
Riley.
I'd say move Ozzy down to the. I mean, you got the DH tomorrow, so I'd say move Ozzy down to the 7-hole. So 7-hole for Ozzy, and then Swanson, and then I guess Jock. 9.
I mean, I'd say move Jock up, maybe 6th in the lineup. Maybe. I like the righty lefty matchup there against Garcia.
Jock's
most likely. Jock hasn't really done much at all since the NLDS. So,
Jocktober needs to return, one more time. Jocktober and November.
Jockvember?
Jockvember? I don't know.
But
Jocktober came late.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, we saw Yordan Alvarez play left field. That was not pretty. But now he's going to be back in the DH hole. And, Astros playing at their home turf. They're used to the DH. We're not. But it still should not play much of a factor. we're able to start all 4 of those outfielders that we got at the deadline.
Yep.
I mean, it's, that should give us a lot of, confidence moving forward. And honestly, Max Fried as well, got to have confidence in his stuff. We didn't see confident Max Fried in the first and second inning of game 2.
Not at all.
But he turned it around, and, last 3 innings were great. But, still overall, that was not sharp Max Fried. He's due for a good start. And Braves bullpen, they're good even when they're not rested, but they're even better when they're rested. And they're rested.
The 3 best guys are rested, and Minter will have it today off. Obviously, he had today off, but I think you're going to see. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. You're going to see. Yeah, you're going to see 5 guys coming to that bullpen, maybe 6. If those are the only these would be the only 6 guys I think you see out of the bullpen the rest of the year. I guess is Matt.
I don't see Chavez pitching. I don't see.
Yeah.
I definitely don't see Smiley pitching.
Yeah.
Dylan Lee, no. Dylan Lee's
the only guy I would say
Kyle
is
Wright,
a possibility.
Maybe.
I would say Kyle Wright's a big.
Kyle Wright, maybe.
I would say Kyle Wright's a big. If if that happens to be the situation, but obviously you got your 2 best starters going, so hopefully you won't need that. So,
if there's a blowout, and if the Braves are up 8-0, or like the Astros are up 8-0, honestly, if the Braves are down 8-0, like just throwing the towel. Unless it's game 7.
Putting Smiley.
But tomorrow, anyone but Smiley. Honestly, I'd rather see Sean Newcomb than Drew Smiley.
Newcomb.
Am I the only one?
Probably
not. I don't know. We've seen Sean Newcomb. He's had a few good moments. He's got to throw strikes. And yesterday the Braves struggled with throwing strikes. And I believe 6 total walks. I wonder how many of those scored. I would say at least 4 or 5 of those scored.
Jeez, I don't even know.
I don't know the exact number, but we do have some sort of breaking news. This isn't this is 45 minutes ago, but Zach Scott, the Mets GM, is out. I don't know if they parted ways. I assume he probably got fired, but he had a DUI thing earlier, and I guess Mets gonna Met. So Zach Scott out as Mets GM. We'll see what Steve Cohen does. But
also in big news, the Braves actually had a. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. You're talking about the Braves, so
I was gonna say.
Important.
No, yeah, I was gonna say in a crazy news, the Braves actually had an umpire scorecard in their favor last night. We didn't obviously see
it snapped a 10-game streak with the Braves being 10 in a row, which is the longest.
What was that
umpire scorecards? It's the longest. It was game 1 or 2 of the NLDS.
No, DS.
We weren't favored in any of those 6 games in the NLCS. Didn't really matter though. Maybe the umpires need to suck for the Braves to do good. Maybe that's why Snick threw in the towel, because he's just like, crap, the umpire's giving us calls. I doubt it, but anyways, one last thing I was going to bring up what Buck Blue was talking about with Mark DeRosa. This was, I think, his final question, was that last night could that have been Freddie's final home game in a Braves uniform? No, but Mark DeRosa had some good insight that I really hadn't thought about. But if Ted Turner was still the owner of the Braves, Freddie Freeman could go up to Ted Turner. I mean, have that, a tangible, like just a conversation with the owner and, work something out. You have some wiggle room. You could, just
who the owner is now.
And instead of a corporation where you have zero contact with them whatsoever, if Ted Turner was the owner, Freddie would have signed an extension like 2 years ago.
Yep.
But instead, we have Liberty Media.
DFA
Liberty Media.
That was a build-up. You were building up for that, weren't you?
I mean, I had it.
Yeah.
Mark DeRosa didn't really call out Liberty Media, so I did it for him. And Dero, he's just because I'm on a national broadcast, I can't be biased, but it's so hard not to be biased because the Braves team just his son is a diehard Braves fan. He saw so many of his old teammates. Tim Hudson was there last night. Maddox threw out the first pitch. And there are a lot of other guys. There's too many to name. Andrew Jones as well. It was really cool to see.
The amount of support. All postseason, but really, you said it earlier. The amount of support we've seen in the city of Atlanta is it goes to show that this is one of the most loyal cities, and they deserve this. As I said, they deserve this. We deserve this as fans. They deserve it as players. Freddie Freeman deserves it. So let's make it happen.
I think
it's America's team. America's team.
So it's crazy to think that I might have there's a chance we might have seen Freddie Freeman's final home game as a Brave, but it's doubtful.
I think there's maybe a 1% chance he doesn't come back to Atlanta.
If one team,
and
if one team goes out and offers a lot more than the Braves, which wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, with how expensive World Series tickets were this series, I think we could probably afford Freddie Freeman's contract for the next 10 years, until he's 42 years old,
Probably.
Whatever it takes. Keep him a Brave for life. Also keep Charlie in Atlanta. We love the kid.
We love Charlie.
We love Charlie.
He's your first.
But anyways, we got anything else? Did we get everything?
No. Yeah, it's everything. Go Braves.
Well, this is the latest the Braves have ever been into the calendar year. Braves have never played. I think the latest they played was October 28th, I think. And we played on 30th, 31st, or we played on the 29th, 30th, and 31st. And now we're playing in November. It's crazy. But I don't know. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling excited, but
one more mountain to climb. One more mountain to climb. We can see the top. You can see it.
It's crazy to think about it, but we've made it this far, and
bring that piece of metal home, boys.
DFA Manfred too.
Manfred.
Oh man,
that would have been. That's what I wanted. I wanted them to win it so bad.
Trophy presentation with Manfred's ovation is gonna be the most negative thing I've ever seen in my life. But
yeah, that would have been funny. But
anyway,
end on the Soler homer or something. Soler, go ahead.
The thing is, if Duvall's grand slam came in, in the clinching game of the World Series, that would have been absolutely legendary, and that's no doubt what this episode would be ending on. Actually, no, Maybe not, because it would be the final out. But we lost, so I think it would have to be. So Layers go ahead home run from game 4. So you got anything else?
No. If you are, I mean, I don't know what, I guess this will be up
tonight. It'll be up tonight.
Or tonight.
I mean, it'll probably say Tuesday.
If somehow, some way you're listening to this before the games and you are somehow going to the game in Houston and you're a Braves fan, be loud, be proud, and go Braves. And let's bring it home.
Also, I forgot one more thing. DFA Jeff Passan too.
DFA Jeff Passan. I love you, Jeff. Why did you do this to me?
I mean, isn't it funny? Like, I don't want to get like incredibly political like on this podcast, but isn't it kind of funny that, with the exception of Ryan Helsley, every single person who says the Chop is racist is not Native American?
Yep.
Just throwing that out there, like the ESPN published like 2 articles, one by Jeff Passan, one by this other dude. He was Native American. Jeff Passan's not Native American. Why are they getting offended over it? Like literally, we're partnering with other Native American organizations, and they don't have a problem with it. It's just like, I mean, literally, Ryan Helsley is the only person that I've seen that has a problem with it that is Native American. Yep. I mean, and it also is unfair to target us when the Florida State Seminoles, Kansas City Chiefs are doing the exact same thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's my opinion. That's my final take. But anyways, you got anything else? I know I've already asked that, but does that bring anything else up? Go give the podcast a follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Are you still keeping up with the TikTok?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not posting regularly, but I am keeping up. Yeah, I posted.
Go give our personal account. You can go give our personal accounts a follow on Instagram and all that. Yeah. Links to literally everything is in the description. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Use promo code Braves News on SeatGeek. Go check out Anchor. Start your own podcast. And did I hit everything right there? Just in that 10 seconds right there?
Everything. Hopefully, email us too. Coming back on here when we won the World Series.
Yeah, email us too. If you if you like us, go leave us a good review on iTunes. That would be incredibly appreciated. If you disagree with something, don't base an entire iTunes review on that. You're free to disagree with us, but that doesn't necessarily mean leave a bad review. Email us, we'll talk about it. I mean, we'll debate a bit. I mean, you can disagree with us, that's fine, but is that worthy of a 1-star review? No. But I mean, email us. Our DMs are open as well. DM us, email us, message us, whatever way you want. Comment on YouTube. I mean, we'll pay attention to it. So, until next time, my name is David Waters.
And I'm Luke Hardin.
Thank you all for listening. And we'll catch you guys in episode 40, hopefully with some fantastic news. In case you hadn't heard, before you listen to that episode.
Yeah.
Or the bad news. I mean, we're hoping not, but it's an option. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate you guys. See you next time.
Peace, guys.
2-1 pitch. Back at the wall. It is gone. Back to back. Braves take the lead. 3-2.